Okay, good evening and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun with Benzion. Tonight's daf is Nazir Chavov, number 26. I want to discuss tonight Chavov and Beis. The Brisa starts off on the top of Chavov and Beis. Tanya Kavasi the Rava. Elu l'chatasi v'ashar l'nishar nezirusi. We had a halacha on Mishusina and Chav Hey, on daf Chav Hey, that if you have unspecified money and you die, right? So even though part of the money is probably for a chatas, however, since you didn't specify that any money is for a chatas, so the Torah gave you a recourse. The Torah said, even though the chatas poses a problem, because once you die and you specified money, you're an animal for a chatas, the animal has to die, or the money has to be thrown in the Yamamel, you can't use it anymore, because someone who died, the whole purpose of a chatas is atonement, and you're dead, there's no atonement after your death. You can't bring atonement after your death. So you're stuck. So the Torah said, all that money could be used. If it's unspecified, you can use it for Kates and Mizbeach. Basically, when the Mizbeach is absent, there's no karbanos being brought, you bring olos. However, that only applies, learn the bottom of Chavav and Aleph, it only applies when you didn't specify part of it is for the Chatas. Once you specify part of the Chatas, right? You set aside $500. And you set $100 for the carbon chatas, and the rest is for the rest of my karbanos nazir, which is an ola and shlamim, the other two karbanos. The mei chatas yalch yamamelach. Then the mei chatas is already ascribed. You already assigned it the din of chatas, and there's no kapara achar misa, so you can't benefit from it. You can't bring karbanos. You have to throw it into the Dead Sea. V'ashar yavi chetzia la'olu chetzia shlamim. The rest, you have $400 left. You divide it: $200 for carbon ola, $200 for carbon shlamim. Now this is an interesting halacha. This is when you violate me'ilah is basically appropriating from using hektish funds for your own personal use. I take the hektish funds and I go to the store and buy an apple. So if I spend $400, I went to the store. What cost $400? $400. I'm trying to think of something that's good that costs $400. How much does a PlayStation cost? I don't know how much these things cost nowadays. $400. I don't know, you buy some expensive jacket or something like that. You buy an expensive jacket, $400 jacket from Ralph Lauren. I have a Ralph Lauren jacket, but it's a windbreaker. It's only $200. So maybe an expensive winter jacket from Ralph Lauren. You pay $400. So you misappropriated funds from hectares, use it for personal services, your personal use. So if you use the entire $400 for your personal use, you have committed me'ilah, which means that you owe the base English $400, and you owe an additional fifth. The additional fifth would be $80. You have to pay another $80. It's a penalty, and you have to bring a korban asham ilos, which is pretty severe. However, miksasan, if I use seemingly, it means if I use only $399, I got a bargain. It was $1 off the Ralph Lauren jacket, and I saved $1 I didn't use, so I wouldn't be chayav me'ilah at all. Meaning, I don't have to pay anything back. Not only $399, I don't have to pay anything back to Hagdash. Why? Because the halacha, the me'ilah, is only by kachem kachem. There's no me'ilah by kachem kalim. Ola, which is entirely for Hashem, is kachem kachem. Shlamim is kachem kalim, because it's eaten also by people and kohanim. So eaten by Yisrael. That's the important fact. That's why it's called kachem kalim. Even be eaten when that's one who's not a kohen. So because we have $400 left of unspecified money, right? We have to assume at least part of it would be used for an ola, and part of it for a shlamim. So it's possible that $399 will be used for the shlamim, and $1 for the ola. If you can find an animal for $1, I don't know, you get a bargain at the flea market. So it's possible technically, maybe even for 1 cent. I don't know, maybe on AliExpress you can get an animal for 1 cent. The point is that since it's possible that all the money, then $399 was for a shlamim, and shlamim there's no me'ilah, so you can't be mechayev a guy me'ilah. Now, this is the way I explain the Gemara, and it makes sense to me because it says molin bekulon ve'imolin miksasan. Kulon is literally means all of the money, only if you use the entire $400. If I use only $399, miksasan means anything that's less than $400. However, this is not the explanation that the article gives, and the article follows the Rush's opinion. The Rush says that the Gemara is lav dafka. When it says molin bekulo, it doesn't mean all of it. Rubo kakulo. If you use $201, right? $201, you bought something like this over here, which is the Samsung Buds 2 Pro, I bought this for $183. So something like this, around $200, $201. You got a little expensive. You got a bad deal. So you spend $201. That's already meila because, like we said before, half of it is for ola, half of it is shlamim, right? If he's not mole, he doesn't use the money for his own purposes. How much of the money used for an ola? What does Beis Hamikdash do? They split it in half, exactly $400, 200 for ola, 200 for shlamim. So therefore, the Rush says that if I use $201, I've already used part of the money that's possible for the carbon ola. So I've done meila. Now I understand why the Rush says what the Rush says, because we just said before, chetzil of chetzil shlamim. So therefore, you can't say meila bekulan is dafka, is specific, is exact, because if half of the money is, if more than half of the money is used, you're already using money from the ola, and you should be a chayav meila. Now, the way I understand it, the reason I'm saying what I'm saying is because that we split up the money half for ola and shlamim is an omed. It's an omdana. It's basically we assess what the person, he's dead now. We don't know how much he would give for the ola, how much for the shlamim. So therefore, suffix, the way of the chazaka, the hanhaga, the way we act in a makom suffix, is we presume that he wanted to split it half and half. That's not a Torah spot. That's not a raya over. There's no raya that he wanted to use 200 for shlamim, 200 for ola. There's a chazaka. There's an assumption. In order to be chayiv for meila, meila is dinei mamnus over here. You want to be mechayiv the guy to pay back the money, the principal, to pay back a penalty of a fifth, and to pay for an expensive asha meilos. That's dinei mamnus over here. So you need a proof for that. So how do you know the person didn't have in mind $399 for the shlam and $1 for the ola? You don't know that. So it's hamotzi mechaber al raya. The Beis Hamikdash can't be mechayiv you to be for meila, to pay back the money, to pay back a fifth, and to pay Hashem Ilos. Well, we don't know. The reason the first halacha, Chetzi halacha shlam, is we assume a regular person, he wants his karbanos to be fairly equal. Why should an ola be better than the shlam? Just like you give to Hashem an ola, you should give to yourself a shlam. So it should be equal. But that's an omed, that's an estimate. We have no idea if that's the truth. That's the hanhaka, that's the chazaka, that's the assumption. Chazaka is not a proof. But in order to hamotzi mechal raya, to have someone meila money, you need a proof. And therefore, only when he used the entire $400, then for sure he did meila. But if he didn't do that, and it's possible to buy an animal, let's say it's possible somewhere, whatever the cheapest animal it's possible to buy that's kosher for the mizbeach, so whatever that amount is, it's possible that he could buy that for the ola, and the rest for the shlamim. So until he does that, he spends more than the amount where he definitely has to purchase the ola also. I don't think he's chayav meila. Therefore, I respectfully disagree with the Rosh over here. It could be there's other Rishonim who say like I do. I think it's the simple explanation of the Gemara. That's why I was shocked when the art scroll explained it the way they did and quoted the Rosh. Hope you enjoyed tonight's share. See you in the next one.